Gently warming in the sun is the subject of the latest video. It is a Rover P6 V8, sometimes known as a P6B, B standing for Buick, which is where the engine came from. Was it 251 or 351? No, it must be 251 or something like that. 3.5 litre V8 engine, all alloy. Buick decided they preferred cast iron, so Rover said, oh well, if you don't want it, we'll have it. Yeah, the P6, it has a base unit construction, rather like a Citroen DS, so you'll see styling tweaks very much like a DS in that at the top, and the base unit is basically a monocoque skeleton, which sits under all these external panels, so you can have lovely outside and the inside can be rotten as a pear. And a quick tip from someone who's had 2 of these, but inspecting all around this area is a good idea. And you can lift the rear seat, you can smack your gimbal, you can lift the rear seat bases out and have a peek under there, and that'll tell you how healthy it is. This rear panel here also quite prone to having a bit of a rot session going on, but very, very unusual under the bonnet. So while she's burbling away, let's have a peek. So there is the engine. Originally these had Rover's own 2 litre 4-cylinder engine, but they were actually designed for a gas turbine, which is why there was enough space for the V8. And suspension is quite unusual. Don't know if we can get in the arch and see, but effectively there's a big lever arm up to the bulkhead, which keeps all the suspension over that side of the bay, leaves plenty of space for engine. A remarkable design, loads of suspension travel. Well, the design of the car done by Spen King, who also designed the Range Rover. So he was convinced that suspension travel is what you needed, and who am I to disagree? So here is the interior, big steering wheel. Oh, feels like it has got power steering though. It usually had the smaller wheel with power steering. The earlier ones had a strip style speedometer. This has got proper dials, bit of sunshine going on there. Who'd have thought it, so much sunshine. 3-speed automatic gearbox. We drive going to the rear wheels. See, we've got a cassette player in this one, all mod cons. Suspect that's aftermarket because this is a 1971 car. And yeah, the smell. I wish I could do a better job of describing the smell, because it is superb. Oh, one thing I will say, the space in the back is not the most generous. That's the downside of the base unit construction. Lots of tunnels going on. There's a huge 68 litre fuel tank in the back. So if I jump in, it's all a bit tight for what was, you know, a fairly big executive car. This was a smaller executive car for a new burgeoning executive class. So yeah, not the most spacious in the back, but they're very comfy up front. So let's go for a drive. Or maybe we'll just enjoy some gentle burbling. When I used to have one of these, my neighbour used to love it when I went for a drive, just because of the noise. Incidentally, this is a Series 2. Identified at the back by the reflectors there and the chrome trim along the side. And the egg crate grille is another Series 2 point. It's a fairly early one. J was the changeover. My V8 was a Series 1 with the stainless steel grille. And the V8 has this big cooling bit underneath as well, so quite easy to spot. Look at the ground clearance. Go off-roading in this. Oh, this windscreen needs a wash. Right, screen needs washing, screen wash isn't working, so here we go. Oh, it's just like being in Wales. That's a bit better. Look at the action on those, beautiful. Oh, and we've got intermittent. Oh, I never had intermittent on mine. Oh, look at that. Whoa, marvellous. Right, and we are joined by the owner, one Peter Simpson.
Hello.
Who people may know from various magazine editing exploits over the years. Currently classic van and pickup and classic and vintage commercial.
Correct, yes.
Which this car is neither of those, I guess. Which way are we going?
I would suggest we go left.
Right here. Oh, this takes me back so much. I love Rover P6s. They are such beautifully engineered cars.
They are.
And I do have to say a V8 is the only one to go for, really. So how did you come to own this one?
Well, it was found by a friend of mine who is a solicitor in a garage down in St Neots. Some elderly lady had died. He was handling the probate of the case, and this was in the garage. And he phoned me and say, would you like a green Rover, Peter? And I said,
hard to refuse.
I said, possibly. And he said, well, it's here. It's got to be cleared quickly. Do you want it? And I said, well, yes. He said, we agreed a price, but it was a very, very favourable price. However, the condition was I had to move it within 4 days, and it hadn't moved in 12 years.
Wow.
We did it.
And did it need much to get it back in action again?
Not too much. We had a bit of work to do on the gearbox. It was not going into reverse when it was warm. Turned out to be a problem with the reverse solenoid.
Which way here?
Go left here, please.
On my driving test.
It was turned out to be a problem with the reverse solenoid, but basically pushes the reverse gear band into position. There was a rubber ring on the bottom of that had perished. Watch it through here, Ian. There's a 40 mile an hour speed limit, and there's a camera.
Right here. Hope your speedo is accurate.
I wouldn't like to say about that one or the other.
It's moving around a little.
Yes, it is. Yes.
I shall keep the moving around under 40 and we'll be fine.
We have to be a bit careful. I'm actually vice chairman of the parish council.
Right, okay, so no donuts then?
Precisely.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, some will object.
But I wouldn't be very gentlemanly anyway. This is such a fine gentleman's carriage. Have you had many of these before?
I had a couple of them. One which I think I sold to you, didn't I?
You did indeed.
I sold you one once.
Yeah, a blue 2000 SC, single carburettor.
Slow, the opposite of this.
Yeah.
Slow.
I didn't get on with it. It drank just as much fuel, but didn't make the nice noises.
Yeah, it would have done, yes.
And I guess these are a car very well suited. We're out here in Lincolnshire in the Fens, and it's fabulous suspension.
Oh yes.
Cars just don't ride like this anymore.
It's funny, you know as well as I do, Ian. When you get a car that you bond with straight away, you know there are some you like and you think, yeah, this is right for me. There are some you think, nah, it won't be. This is a keeper.
I can well understand that. The only reason I sold my V8 was running costs, 20 to the gallon, and it cost me an absolute fortune to keep it on the road. I had to have the sills welded up. Various things go wrong with the independent rear suspension, which is by the Dion, and there's the Dion tube and inboard brakes.
Yes, that's what we had to overhaul rear brakes from this because they've been standing down for so long. But,
that doesn't surprise me.
That had to be done. But the secret apparently is to set it up properly in the first place and then not mess about with it, like with so many other things. Really.
Just check there's no one behind me. Let's give the brakes a shove. Yeah, all discs.
Of course.
That wasn't the hardest of shoves. That wasn't your full emergency stop.
She does pink a little bit.
She does, yeah. You're not running on Super.
And it is actually on Super unleaded.
Okay.
So it's what ways do?
I must concede I ran mine on 95. I was really bad.
Yeah, no, it's I do run it on Super unleaded, and it probably needs a time of tweaking a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're doing 50 at the moment, and it's just peaceful and quiet. And
I mean, it's a car you could use every day were it not for the fuel cost.
Yeah.
It's unusual to be driven, and to be driven by somebody who knows what they're doing, which is quite, in an old car, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I'm being very restrained, I must admit, especially with a 4-cylinder. I did not hang about in that. I remember Chris Hope, former colleague of both of us, currently deputy editor on Classic Car Weekly.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. He was once trying to keep up with me in that 4-cylinder P6, and he had quite a job on these roads because the handling is superb. Yeah. They handle so well.
Every Rover made since 1945 has a claim to be the last proper Rover, and somebody will say it is. I actually think the case is stronger than with any of them, really.
Yeah.
It was designed by Rover properly.
And it's a pure engineering car, whereas the SD1 was a pure compromise car.
Precisely. precisely.
But yeah, I mean, we're not feeling the terrain at all here, are we? It's just floating.
And what we classic enthusiasts tend to forget as well is that something like this, when it was introduced, it was so new. It was completely unlike any other Rover up to that point. It was 63 or 64?
64. Ooh, you got me now. It might be 63.
I think it was 63. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was a new car for young people, for young executives.
Yeah.
A break with the stuffy old Rovers of previous Rovers.
It's a good place to turn around, do you think?
Well, that'll go on and go up the bypass if you like.
Oh, okay. We'll do that then.
Go.
We're still okay for time?
Yeah. Well, Sarah's back now, so
right.
she's fine. She's my daughter's back, as you know, so. The only thing I can't show is going up hills, because we haven't got any around here.
No, slight shortage. We can go to Gedney Hill, where there is a very, very slight incline.
Is there? I haven't noticed it.
Yeah, it's on the way to the gents' toilets in the bogs.
Oh, right, okay.
But
unlike where you live, Hubnut, this is a bit sort of flat.
It is, yeah. It's a shame. I think a P6 would be marvellous in Wales, because you could actually chuck it around a bit on the bends.
Well, funnily enough, that is where we're hoping Edward to retire. So, and as I say, the plan is this is certainly going to be a keeper.
Yeah. Well, you might find me borrowing it if you come and move too close. So be careful. You have been warned.
Oh, indeed.
The only problem is the roads are too good where we are.
Oh, right.
There wouldn't be a good enough test of the suspension, whereas Fenland roads are so uneven.
This road is appalling. Actually, it's just been.
But that's good. We're testing.
Yeah.
We're proving. Just
Believe it
how
or
good
not,
these
the road
cars
has
are.
just been down. Has just been repaired allegedly by Lincolnshire Council.
Which way are we going here?
Go left here, please. And I think it's worse than when they started.
Yeah, she's having a pink, isn't she?
Yeah, she's not really. Yeah, she's
Left again?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Now go striking the dashboard now.
This is my old sales route when I was selling cars. So.
You're not selling cars anymore?
Nope.
Ah.
Sent the trade plates back at the end of last month.
Blimey.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
Major news, you heard it here on Hubnut.
Trade, yes.
Because you must have sold a pretty staggering number of cars.
About 700, I reckon, something like that. But times move on, things change.
Yeah.
We all, the trade plates back at the end of June.
A bit more wind noise now, we're up to 60. Still, smooth progress. And I forgot to demonstrate the causal width open with a little knob on the side. I might do a video of that later if you're really lucky.
Of course, what the viewers won't be able to get at the moment is the farmyard smell we've just experienced going along here.
That was disgusting, yeah.
Was,
is there a lay-by along here?
there is.
Right here, we might give you a change of view so you can see the marvellous dashboard.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, road test part 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, funk.
Yes, they do that.
They do. The old Borg Warner, model 35, not the smoothest.
Of course, the rev counter's not working at the moment, is it? Sometimes it works.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've now highlighted that, haven't I?
No, it's all right. It's okay, no problem.
Right,
Sometimes it works. Whoa!
Oh, ease off a bit. She is pink in there.
So
this is acceleration on a light throttle because she's pinking a bit. Pinking is when it's firing too early, so it's firing before the pistons got to top dead centre, so it's not a very nice thing to do to your engine. So. But we're sure it will be addressed. But even on part throttle, it's soon up to a decent cruising speed. Yeah, quite revolutionary compared to a lot of cars that were on sale around this time. For the P6 that made Spen King think, maybe we could fit comfortable suspension to an off-roader. And so the Range Rover
aren't there?
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. You know, it's almost about compromise, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's engineering first.
It annoys me beyond belief that there is no modern car that rides this well. It's like, if we could do it in the 60s,
Yeah.
why can't we do it now? What has gone so badly wrong? We've got 63,000 miles on the clock, so
Which is genuine.
yeah, still running it really. Have you got much history with it?
Not a great deal. It was. I know it lived on Jersey for the first 15 years or so of its life.
No, I won't have clocked up many miles there.
So yes, it won't clock to legally. The downside is it wouldn't got warm very often.
That's true.
When it came over here in about 1991, I think. It's the same long trade dentist for most of its life. Then when he died, his wife inherited it. Then she died. And having not used it for about 6 years prior to that, and that's how I got it.
Wonderful. We've got a fresh air vent here as well, which I love. So even when you've got the heater going, you can have fresh air to the face. Lovely. And there we go, that was the Rover P6, and yet again I've fallen in love with the Rover P6. They are staggeringly wonderful cars to drive. I can't really emphasize that enough. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.